Okay, we're live on Hogg's vlog. How are you going, everyone? I've got my glasses on just to read through a few names here. Welcome, everyone. Abhay Pratap Singh, Atal Baral, you're back. Abhay Pratap Singh, yeah, I've mentioned him. Come on, George. You've come on twice, actually, Abhay. Girish. We've got Shaik, we've got Gav, we've got a few good questions down here. Ruben Loganathan, I can't wait to get into that question, getting stuck into these Aussies and England players not rocking up to the IPL. But what we're going to talk about first before we get into the questions are who's had the positives out of the break and who's coming back into this IPL with a little bit of a negative aspect to their campaign. Roll bumper, please, Shubs. Okay, I'm going to look to my left here because I've got a few notes here because we've got 8 teams that I want to go through. But let's go to the first talking points. Teams that have made a loss. Well, RR and RCB are the big ones that I think have made a loss here. RR, for instance, they've lost Archer, Butler, Stokes and Ty. That is 4 quality players in their squad that they have lost. But when they come to their main 11, it's not such a big drama. I think Livingston comes in for Butler out the top of the order, but I think they'll still keep the same bowling combinations that they had last game. But the depth is not there in the pace bowling. They've got Thomas. Lewis might not be coming over because of shoulder injury. Glenn Phillips. But the big one that I love that Rajasthan Royals have picked up is a left-arm Chinaman, Shamsi from South Africa. I think he's a good inclusion. So they have potential, but I just think they still require a lot on Samson to make a lot of runs. So they're in a bit of trouble in that regard. And Sakria, the left-arm medium pacer, I like to see how he comes back in this second phase because teams will be lining him up after seeing what he had to offer out the start of the year. Now, they're 4 from 7. They've got to win at least 3 games to have a chance to get into the final 4. Winning 4 games out of 7, I don't think Rajasthan Royals can do that. Let's go to RCB. RCB are in a different situation. The 2 big losses there are Sams and Washington Sundar. 2 all-rounders in that lower order that gives good dimension with both bat and ball. That is going to be a huge loss for them. And their replacements, they've got David, Chamira, Hasaranga, Garton, Deep, don't really match up with those all-rounders that they're missing. So I think they've made a big they've made a bit of a mistake there not going after an all-rounder. Harsha Patel last year was sensational at the start of the year. He was the prize bowler, and it will be interesting to see if he continues that form. And Glenn Maxwell, can he continue that batting prowess that he had last tournament or in the first phase in this second phase? He's had a bit of a break, so that is going to be an interesting one. 5 games from 7 out the moment that they have won. They only need to win 3 games out of the next 7 to get through. I think they'll just sneak over the line, but because of the recruits and the changes that they've made, I don't think that they will get in the grand final at the end. All right, the teams that have got no difference, let's go into that phase. We've got the Mumbai Indians. Look, they've just got good all-round ability, and then CSK, just great all-round ability all through their lineup. And their depth of squad just balances up where they can replace certain players. Rohit Sharma's in full swing right now with his form over in Test cricket. I'd just be interested to see how he adjusts here back into the T20 form, because we know how dominant he is with a white ball, but just with that change of tactics with the Test arena where he's playing the ball a little late, not going after it, will that make it a bit of a difference early on in this second phase? CSK, the big issue that I've got with them is Duplessis. If he is injured, that's going to cause a few holes in their batting lineup, but their top 6 last year was phenomenal. MS Dhoni has to lift, but the way that they used Moeen Ali at number 3 gave them good depth in their batting and also depth in their bowling. And they've got the big inclusion of Josh Hazlewood as well, just to add extra depth with their quicks. So I see CSK, Mumbai Indians in the top 3. And KKR, well, not much difference to them. They've lost Pat Pat Cummins for Tim Southey, they haven't got much improvement there. Well, they've had a big loss there for me. Their middle order just relies too heavily on Russell. Morgan and Kartik have to lift, but they've won 2 games from 7. Kuldeep has come out and said they've got communication issues within their camp, within the management and the captain with particular players. So I don't see them changing things to win 5 games out of 7 to get into the finals this year. SRH, they've also got management problems. They've got 3 New South Welshmen in there. Warner, who else was there? Trevor Bayliss, as well as the keeper Haddon in the coaching staff. And then they got the West Australian Tom Moody. And I think when they dropped Warner last year, you could see a few cracks starting to open up within the coaching staff, and I thought you could see that out in the middle with the playing group as well. So for me, I can't see SRH coming through and making a difference. You can hear the rain outside. It's raining over here in Perth. Right, let's go up to the teams with a positive difference. Now, Punjab Kings 11. I think this break has really livened them up. They've been able to change their balance of the team. They've got rid of 2 quicks, Meredith and Richardson, both Australian quick bowlers, and they've been able to get Nathan Ellis in. Now, Nathan Ellis is not a big name, but he's got good variety, and over in the UAE, he could be a change that the Punjab Kings 11 really need in this lineup to add bowling depth for them. And Adel Rashid from England, the leg spinner, you've got a quality leg spinner there over in the UAE, just at the latter stages of the tournament when it turns a bit more, that will be good. And you've got Markram coming in for Milan. So there's not much difference there, but Milan can do what Milan did in those middle orders and just bat through the innings. So they've got good depth there, Punjab Kings 11, and I can see them coming from the bottom half of the table and just jumping over RCB later on in the stages to get in the finals. So watch that big one. Now, Deli Capitals for me are the team to beat here, and having this break, they've got Aya coming back into the lineup, which allows them to have a little bit of variety with their overseas players. They don't have to rely on Steve Smith now. They've got Aya back in that top order, and that will give them better balance and able to turn things around down the lower order with their bowling department. And I've got to say, Avish Khan in the first phase was sensational. They do lack in 2020 cricket their Indian quicks. They don't have enough depth there, but Avish Khan lifted last year, so Ricky Ponting will be a little comfortable with him coming into the lineup, knowing that he's a little bit more confident in the arena. And they've got Ashwin coming back in the lineup as well. So they have become stronger, Deli Capitals. They are the team to beat in this tournament. Okay, quickly ran through that. There are a lot of more points that I wanted to put forward, but we've only got a short amount of time because I want to get to your questions. Okay, Shubs, let's get into it. Let's get those questions up and about. So everyone knows that I think Deli Capitals are going to come through and win this tournament. And I might get a bit of a baking here somewhere along the line with some of the comments that I made, but that's what I love, because you guys out there have got good cricketing brains and you've got great ideas as well, and that's what I love about our interaction. Now, Atel Baral, how are you going, buddy? Do you think that RCB can replicate their form from the first half of the IPL in the UAE leg? Look, I think they rely heavily on Glenn Maxwell. That is a big issue for me. Can he continue that form? Because we know that he has a lot of ups and downs throughout his career. He's had a lot of time off. So that particular balance is a bit of a worry for me. And the all-round balance in the middle of that middle of the batting order to give them options with both bat and ball is a huge worry as well. And if you lose Maxwell early and Virat Kohli early, you're relying heavily on AB de Villiers, and I don't think they've got enough batting around them to cover any loss there, with losing the all-rounders as well. So for me, RCB are on a nice edge at the moment. They're on the edge of the ice, and they would be very disappointed that the tournament finished in that first phase because they had so much momentum going their way. And someone like Harsha Patel was in fine form with the ball as well. So they had all their combinations right, but all of a sudden it's been taken away. They've got to regroup, and they've lost too many players for me to continue that form moving into the second leg. That's only my opinion, what I see on paper. And as we know, things change. Someone always stands up and lights up center stage and produces something that we don't expect. So can we have that from one of the RCB players that have come into the team? I don't think so. Okay, next question, please, Shubs. Ruben Loganathan, how you going? Good to see you on board here. Will the withdrawal of so many Australians and England players see the standard of cricket in IPL drop by considerable margins? No, I don't think so, because there's a lot of players here that have been given an opportunity that they wouldn't have got earlier on. And when that happens, as I was just saying with Artel's question at the end there, someone stands up and becomes a shining light and shows us something different that we don't expect. And some of these players that have come in too aren't picked in their T20 World Cups. They want to prove a point, and they'll want to lift. So they'll be giving 100%. They'll be playing out their best of their ability. So I don't think the standard's going to change one single bit with some of these players not coming over. And if you look at someone like a Pat Cummins with KKR, he's not going to make much of a difference with KKR in these latter stages now, because they're virtually out of the competition from what I'm seeing. But for me, I'm looking forward to someone like an Aiden Markram from South Africa. He's got a lot of potential, hasn't lived up to that full potential, and this could be the platform where he really ignites his T20 career. And also someone like a Nathan Ellis from Australia. He's exciting. He goes in hard. He's got plenty of varieties. He's got a good Yorker and a brilliant slower ball. He can really set the world alight for Punjab Kings 11 as well. So there's still a lot of depth there to really take the game away. And we're going to see a lot more of Liam Livingstone as well. So, Ruben, I don't think it's going to drop the standard of IPL cricket. Okay, next question, please, Shubs. Nirajan Media. How are you going, Nirajan? Hello, Hoggy. How you been? I've been great. It's Media here. Hope you remember me. Are Mumbai chasing sixth title? What's your thoughts on Mumbai's success? For me, I think they've built up a great culture. They've had a lot of consistency throughout their squad. Very rarely do you see too many changes in their main 11 over the last 10 years. And I don't know how they do it. Out the auction table, they manage somehow to keep their squad and able to rebuild and fill the holes that they think that they've got to fill. So for me, their management has just been top notch. They have that formula which just keeps rolling over. And for me, the only team that are going to knock them off this year for a sixth title is Deli Capitals. This is the best team that I have seen on paper in the IPL, the Deli Capitals, with their balance, that is going to take on the might of the Mumbai Indians and CSK. I think CSK is a little bit too old, but the Mumbai Indians, that might is going to be tested by Deli Capitals this year. So they've got a big chance, but it's Delhi who they've got to worry about. That's a good question there, Nirajan Media. Smayan Gupta, greetings, Hoggy. Greetings to you. Namaste. Do you think that KL Rahul will be the key to Punjab Kings 11 in the top four? Also, will they go on to get to the top four? Hey, we've just whipped over a question there, Shubs. You're a bit quick on the old button there. Shubs is behind the scenes helping me out here with all the questions, so thanks, Shubs. Look, I think KL Rahul and Agarwal are very important in that top two, because they got them off to a great start in the first phase of the tournament, and it took the pressure off that middle order. For me, it's the likes of Gale. Who else have they got in there? Where is my Punjab Kings 11 team? Punjab Kings 11. Where are you? There you go. Nicholas Perun. He's the one, or Paran, should I say. He's the one that's got to lift in that lower order and take the pressure off the other players around him. And Chris Gale, can he manage to get that form that we know of, where he pounds the boundaries and scores quickly at the latter stages of an innings if he gets set? So for me, it's not all about KL Rahul. It's about the overseas batsmen standing up and taking the pressure off those top two, because Agarwal and Rahul can't continue to be making the majority of the runs in that top four. The other two there have to lift. And if Poran doesn't perform in the first couple of opportunities that he gets, then you've got to bring in Aiden Markram to bat out number 4. So for me, yes, Rahul plays a big pivotal point, but don't forget about Agarwal and the West Indies. All right, next question, please, Shubs. Yeah, that's the only thing with Punjab. They rely too much on Rahul just leading and batting through that innings. Greetings, Hoggy. Oh, cornflakes. I love cornflakes, right? I haven't had cornflakes for so long. Now you've just made me get those taste buds ready. I want to go and get some milk and some cornflakes right now, actually. Feeling a bit peckish with that little hashtag. All right. Do you see any hope for Sunrisers Hyderabad not ending up out the very bottom of the table, as they seem to be making too many changes too often to the team composition? I think just not to the team composition, but also their management composition. There's just too many changes going on left, right and centre there. For me, I think they've got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians there. I think dropping David Warner out the end of the series, or at the end of the first phase last year, might cause a little bit of disruption amongst the group as well, because once you're changing leaders, things generally don't go too good down the line. David Warner has led that team so strongly when he's been out the helm. They've had a lot of success there. And when you make those changes because things aren't going well and aren't going right, and remember, he made 50 and then got dropped. Yes, it was a slow 50, but that might have just been the 50 that got him in form, and they went ahead and dropped him. I just think that causes a bit of unrest with the players, or unsureness amongst the players. Who's leading us? Where do I sit in the thick of things now? I've got a new captain. How do I get the rapport with that new captain as well? And they can see things with management too, which where you're thinking, right, well, the management aren't too sure what they're actually doing as well. They're making a few changes. So everyone was walking on eggshells there in the first phase. To turn that around going into the second phase, it's going to be a lot of hard work in the first week leading up to it. So I don't see Sunrisers Hyderabad getting anywhere off the bottom of the table at the moment with the situation they had themselves in at the end of the first phase. Hope I got that all out right. I love cornflakes. Thanks very much for that question, and thanks very much for joining me on live Hogs vlog. Next question, please, Shubs. Kapil Verma. How are you going, Kapil? What is the key to success for Chennai Super Kings? Look, it's very much similar to the Mumbai Indians. For me, Mumbai Indians seem to have a more powerful outfit, whereas the Chennai Super Kings seem to have a more experienced outfit. And sometimes having a more wiser, older head on the shoulders outplays the younger generations. So for me, that's where CSK really have the advantage, just with the older age group in there. But they're also led by calm, collect MS Dhoni. And we're just talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad, how they were chopping and changing last year. MS Dhoni very rarely makes those drastic changes when things aren't going well. He's got the 11 that he thinks that can do the job at the start of the series, and generally he tries to have the majority of that 11 at the end of the series, playing in the latter stages of the tournament. He's backing those particular charges, and the rest of the squad are there generally for drastic things when someone's really out of form, or they've had a few injuries. So for me, it's just the way that they keep their composure and back the players that are in their main 11 from the start. So that's why CSK are pretty strong for me. Good question, that, Capel. Love it. And there's so many ways to do it, whether you chop and change your team and try and get the right matchups with opposition teams, or you just back the group that you've got. I think sometimes you could be a little bit too fancy trying to chop and change too much, and that's where CSK are very strong. Yes, they look at the matchups, but they don't make it their main theme to have the right matchup for the opposition team. They go with the players that are in form, and the players that they back think that they can do the job. So they might every now and then they might have a little bit of a mismatch, but that mismatch becomes a prominent matchup where the CSK player dominates because he's been back to do a job and he's got that confidence. Whereas sometimes when you chop and change because of certain matchups, players start to lose a bit of confidence because the captain's not picking them in certain situations. So he feels as though that he's not being backed. So that's where CSK are very strong. Gee whiz, I went long on that answer. Thanks very much for that, Capel. It's a very thoughtful answer, that one. So sometimes it's good to get questions like that. Next question, please, Shubs. Amit Nayak. How are you going, Amit? Hi, Hoggy. Who's the player to look out for RCB in IPL Phase 2? RCB. Who am I going to... look, I think Harshal Patel is the one. The bowler that did so well last phase. They were relying on Saini to lift and bowl with sheer pace, and hope that Saini had improved a lot. He hadn't. Harsha Patel got his opportunity and he took it with both hands. I think he's going to have a big part to play in phase 2. He's got to keep that form up. If he doesn't, then it provides a lot of holes in RCB's bowling attack, and they can't have that, especially when they don't have that all-round capability in the middle part of their batting order. So for me, Harsha Patel is the one to watch for me. Very good question, Amit. So made me think there, but I'm just on the back of Harsha Patel. I love the way he goes about it. Okay, guys. Oh, gee, that was short and sharp. Thanks very much for that, guys, for joining me. We've got plenty of IPL cricket coming away, and I might surprise you in something different on a Hogg's vlog. You better watch out for that sooner than later. All right. See you guys. Stay safe, and let's look forward to the first game of the IPL on the weekend. Can't wait for it to start.